A cultural calamity. Did we watch the same movie? So, Supergirl is the second film in the DCU. Milly Alcock plays the title character who goes to a planet with a red sun so she can get drunk and celebrate her birthday week. Meanwhile, the family of a young lady named Ruthie is killed by the sinister Drom. Seeking vengeance, she asks Kara for help in avenging her family. After Crypto the dog is poisoned by Drom, two set out on a quest to avenge the family and save the little doggo. Milly Alcock carries this whole film, and she does it with style. I have not read the source material that this story is based off of, but my best friend who is a comic book junkie has told me what the story was, so I didn't go in completely blind. Kara is very jaded and cynical throughout the whole movie, but has that Han Solo-like charm to her which makes her endearing. From my understanding, she isn't this jaded type in the original source material, so the film takes an earlier version of Kara and meshes it in to the Woman of Tomorrow story. I'm fine with this because it adds a fun and laid back attitude that contrasts completely differently than Superman did. It helps give the story and the film an identity it can call its own. There's a sequence where Kara and Ruthie are talking. Kara is explaining her familial connection to Clark, and Ruthie asks why he is called Superman and she is called Supergirl. A very valid and funny question. Speaking of Ruthie, she's hit or miss for me. There's many times in the first half where I didn't really like her that much. She seemed to be acting too narrow and had no complexity to her character other than the sword she is always carrying around. I understand she is on a quest for revenge, but when she is watching a Kryptonian kick a bunch of ass, I think her character could have been written more on the student side of a mentor-student relationship. There's a sequence where she's in a cage and she uses her resources to take down a bad guy, and then I started to like her more. She seemed to be coming in her own at that point, albeit a little unorganically, but she has more diversity near the end of the second act. I really liked most of the action sequences in this picture. When I reviewed Superman last year, I mentioned that the action in that film seemed too busy and cut weirdly during all of the fighting. Supergirl has some fun scenes on a space bus and a Mos Eisley-like bar. They were well shot and edited, and carried by the fun-loving nature of Milly Alcock. There's these space pirates she has to fight early on, and her quipping humor fit well with everything. Did I mention she carries the film? Jason Momoa plays Lobo. Even though his character adds nothing to the story and could have been cut out without affecting the plot in any way, this seems like a role Momoa was born to play. When he first shows up, there's all this apocalyptic lore surrounding him. How he destroyed his entire family, or was it a planet? I honestly can't remember. But it creates a mysticism, and it turns out that he is a guy who just loves smoking cigars, views everyone as just puny, and wants to murder a bunch of Krem's henchmen. Momoa is so fun in this film. He doesn't need to be in it at all, but his indelible charm adds to the film, as well as Milly's charm, so I was having fun for the majority of the runtime. The villain of the movie, I can't say the same thing about. He is so generic and boring, he cackles a lot, and yeah, I know, he sucks. Anyone who wants to abduct young girls to marry them off and keep his group of only men going should burn, but the way he is portrayed is boring in just about every way I can imagine. As I said earlier, I'm not very familiar with the source material, so I don't know if Krem is a big adversary for Supergirl, but I would think he is written better in the comics than he is in this film. He just seems to be defined by his, I can only call it small dick complex, where he's always flaunting his axe, bursting through walls, and being no better than the villain in all those generic action films that starred Dave Bautista. I know it's hard for anyone to be a proper foil for a hero who is literally an unstoppable alien, so they have to resort to nerfing Kara's power for most of the movie. I don't mind this in theory, otherwise she would just murk everyone in this film in one action scene and the film would be over in 5 minutes. But there had to be a better villain with more devious characteristics and charm than what we got here. The film began to lose me near the end of the second act, and the final act was actually the only action sequence I wasn't really a big fan of. There's a character who is out running a dust storm, and somehow Kara is carrying her in the next shot without giving an establishing shot of showing how this character was saved. It was weirdly edited at that point. Like the last 20 minutes felt mostly like a throw everything at the wall and see what sticks kind of finale. And the becoming the hero you were destined to be didn't feel earned because the sisterly bond between the two leading ladies was not as strong as it should have been for them to both have their self-actualizations. It felt like the film was in too much of a hurry and didn't want to dwell on relationship building more than absolutely required. But I love Milly Alcock and Jason Momoa in this film, and making Kara her own kind of character with her own kind of story was a good dichotomy to what we got with Superman, so I do recommend this movie. It begins to lose itself in the last act and seems to have been cut in runtime by maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and the flashback scenes seemed like they were inserted late in the production, though I don't have proof of that. But I enjoyed this film in the moment and was never bored by it. I think one thing that is likely going to be an outrage merchant for this film is a patriarchy being the villain in a story that is primarily female driven. That is just shit I am so tired of. It's called Supergirl and is based off of a story that was written by a man. So please don't let that crap influence you. It is just noise that I'm afraid is going to drown out a film that is enjoyable despite the flaws I mentioned already. Just go watch it and have fun with the likability of the lead. It isn't going to reset the bar like some of the films we've gotten this summer have, but it is a popcorn superhero film you can enjoy in the moment. So go enjoy it. I give Supergirl 3 stars. A hot take for me on this one, but I personally think I like this more than Superman from last year. That may be because I'm not as familiar with this character as I am with Superman, so the story felt a little more fresh, but it was fun, and anyone who is hating on Milly Alcock can go piss up a rope. She is great in this film. And that is my review. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this, please like and subscribe. Here's links to my other videos. Follow me on social media if you like.